Operation status quo. Operation status quo. Prepare to engage. Operation status quo. Ready to engage. Operation status quo. Engaged. Engaged. Hello. Oh, hello. Oh my gosh. Ladies and gentlemen, how we doing out there? I love you guys. I love you. Let me just start by saying I love you guys. I hit my button a couple times and it didn't click right away, so I'm just laughing at myself. We always have fun here. That's what it's all about here on Operation Status Quo. It's not just about, trying to give all these beautiful, beautiful messages. I don't know, whatever messages you want to say, inspirational messages. Maybe I should say it that way. At least I try to think of them as inspirational messages. But anyway, we're here because we love people. Who's we? We is me, and hopefully you too. And we're all in it together. This is Operation Status Quo, where of course we observe the status quo of life. We learn to flow with the status quo of life, and then we create our own flow of quo, because that's the only way to go. That's what we do here. It's just a space to, if you're new, thank you first and foremost for being here. If this is the first time you're checking out an episode, thank you. And, hang out for a while and listen in and see if any of these messages resonate with you as we move forward. I am Pete Palma, by the way, if I haven't said that already, which I don't think I have, which I probably shouldn't. Maybe it'd be better if I did not identify myself. I probably should just wear like a burlap sack like over my head, and just talk that way. This way I can stay incognito. I guess if I really wanted to stay incognito, I could use a fake name and just do a podcast without any video. But that's not the way it works here. That's not the way it works here in Operation Status Quo, because I'm a man of the people and I care about people, and you're the people and I'm the people and we're all people. And wouldn't you like to be a people too? We're the people, you and me, you're people. And that's what it's all about. Did I get any, have I piqued your interest in any way whatsoever yet? So, hey, welcome. Tomorrow's 4th of July. So hopefully you guys are out there doing whatever you're doing, prepping up for, nice barbecue maybe, or maybe you're just off from work a little bit and able to relax and have a good time. I hope so, because, life is short in a sense of, our physical time here, and things go by so quickly, and we're always kind of wrapped up in all the stuff we have to do to stay on top of things. And we forget sometimes that it's nice just to, kick back and have a good time and enjoy life, enjoy the simple things without making a big project out of it. It's funny, just because of how, thoughts always pop into my head, but like growing up, when the holidays would come around, like just say a holiday like this, like 4th of July, my grandmother has passed, but my mother and grandmother were living together, and, I lived in my space, my brother lived in his space, but, generally the four of us would get together on, a day like, say, the 4th of July, and, I'd always say to my mom and my grandma, listen, it's just a four of us, nobody's coming, we don't need anything extra, just a little quick meal. It doesn't have to be a thing. And then before you know it, it turns into this like huge, we're Italian too, by the way, so it's just like, it's always an abundance of food. If you're cooking, if you really want to keep things at a proper level of food for number of people, and you're going to an Italian's house, make sure that you give them half the number. Like, don't say 4 people are coming. If 4 people are coming, just say 2 people are coming. If you're going to have 8 people, just say 4 people, because then the quantities of food will be reasonable. Otherwise, it's just free for all. Heyo. And then you're eating the same crap for like 6 days because you're just trying to get rid of it. Like, I always enjoy a good, and I haven't had this in a while, and, I don't generally make it for myself, like on an occasion like this, but I would, like a nice, like macaroni salad, which I always like, with the mayonnaise in there a little bit and some onions and celery chopped up and blah, blah, blah. And, so my grandmother, like, oh, Pete likes his macaroni salad. So the next thing you know, we're boiling up 1.5 pounds of pasta. We got like 2 pounds of chicken and 2 pounds of salmon, and it's like there's 4 of us, Grandma. There's only 4 of us. You understand the protein's supposed to be the palm of your hand. Hey-o. So it always got a little out of control with some of those holidays. But hopefully if you're out there with your family and the holidays, and if you want to make a lot of food, make a lot of food. But, make sure it doesn't go to waste. I'm big on not wasting food, I just think that, unfortunately, the way our world is today, everything is wasteful. So it's make a reasonable portion. You don't need as much as you think. Try to back off the Doritos a little bit. Who am I to tell you what to eat on your 4th of July party, right? Anyway, oh gosh. So today is the 3rd of July. I'll probably say all this again tomorrow. I should have saved this for tomorrow when I come on and talk about 4th of July. But today is the 3rd of July in the good year 2023. If you're out there with me on the live chat, don't be shy to chime in and let me know what you're thinking. What I'd like for people to start doing on the chat, because, people are in there once in a while. I understand not everybody likes to type stuff in the chat and all that. I get it. But, if you're out there, and you're watching when I'm talking, what I'd like to do is, listen to what I say and then tell me what you think about what I'm saying, Like, chime in and let's get a dialogue going here. This way, it's not always just me trying to put my views on you. But when I speak my views, I do try to do it in a way of space and letting you know that it is just my view. It doesn't have to be yours as well. So today's episode is the deception of perception, ladies and gentlemen. And this is what we do on Operation Status Quo, as I tell you all the time, of course, we're observing what goes on in the world and we're trying to make sense of it and trying to find our way to live our best lives and be our best selves in these crazy times as the world is flipping and flopping and changing all around. So, and this topic, I've always kind of, it's always been on my mind, I would say, just as one of those normal things that's in my mind, kind of all the time that I try to always kind of reflect back to. I had a friend of mine that we used to hang out all the time, and I'll never forget. This is back in the days, if I would say my early 20s, right? And I remember he would always tell me, he was cynical kind of, and always would say, "It's all about image. It's all about image." And I used to think about that, and and of course, right? I mean, the truth is, what is real is the question that I'm posing to you, the beautiful people out there today. What is real, essentially, and how much of it is really just our perception of what? Because first and foremost, as I always try to explain in a way that's not always easy to understand, or it's hard to conceptualize in some regard in our day-to-day life. But the outside world is really a reflection of what's inside of us. We are the creators, we are the manifestors, right? So, our perception is the same thing. We're perceiving whatever we perceive that's going on in the world is done through the lenses of how we've been raised, our cultural backgrounds, our religious upbringings, experiences we've had. Some person might be totally petrified of the ocean because they were out there one time on a little kayak and saw a shark come up and eat their friend, so that might traumatize somebody, and their perception of the ocean is that it's horribly dangerous and there's never any kind of reason to go out there, and sharks are bad. So but somebody else's perception, like a person who dives and takes photographs and videos of sharks underwater, might say, no, sharks are peaceful and docile, and they never really do anything, right? So it really just kind of depends, on where you are and what's going on. But so, and it's funny, and I'm really bringing it up too. I mean, that's a basic example, but I'm trying to say it in the way of making people look at what's going on in our world today and to, take the time to, think about, the perception of what we're being told and what it seems like is going on, what it seems like is going on in comparison to what's really going on. And I guess in a sense, because it gets to be so, it gets to be so esoteric or whatever in a way, the more you go, twist through the rabbit hole and down we go, the spiral, ultimately, there is no reality at all. It's all just the perception of what's going on. And I think that's really the real psyop, or I wanted to say the mind bleep, the mind bleep that's going on right now is that perception, right? So think about that, powers that be. And let me just preface this by saying this is not all about trying to be everything's a conspiracy and everything's out to get you and, blah, blah, blah. It's not. But at the same time, I only, to take it, maybe I'll take it down a level first. Instead of saying the powers that be and, the perception they create of what's going on in the world in comparison to what's really going on in the world, let's just take stuff like an advertiser for a company. They put a perception of, I've used this before. I've talked about this before because Coca-Cola, as growing up, was always one of my favorite products. I just loved their advertising campaigns and maybe always felt really cozy, with the Coca-Cola, and all that. But really the perception, right? So it's the perception of this loving company with this product that everybody loves and it talks about bringing families together. Everybody gets together with a Coca-Cola, and then we all go to the doctor with diabetes. Yeah, we all go to the doctor with diabetes afterwards a little bit, because, and then the kids are upset. The kids are crying. We can't stop the kids from crying. I wish we could. Somebody stop these babies from crying. It's so annoying. Please. Get that kid out of here. But yeah, I mean, it's really kind of a simple message. I don't think there's anything like really deep here that we, that you can't quite figure out for yourself. But it's more of being aware, right? The deception of perception, because everything, I guess on top of it too is that it's not just like the deception of it. It's like they know, whether it be advertisers, whether it be politicians, whatever the case may be, they understand this type of psychology. So they skew things in certain ways to create the perception. Like a good example is everything that's been going on with the banks, right? Though we had that some months ago with the couple banks that went down, and everybody was worried about what's going on with the financial system. And then they turn around and say everything's okay, right? Everything's okay. We got it figured out. Blah, blah, blah. Nobody really kind of talks about it for a couple months. But, the truth is, like, underneath the scenes, like, behind the scenes, this stuff is still going on. Like, there's still, like, a crazy economic problem going on that, is probably, I've said this before that I definitely think we're on the verge of some sort of financial reset, reevaluation of currencies, all that type of thing. How that plays out, I don't know, whatever. But like, they're never going to just come out and tell people. They're never just going to come out and tell people, that your money's worthless, right? They're going to make it like everything's okay, and then they're just going to kind of like they do with the cattle. They're going to herd you in, to another direction to see if to get you where they want you to go. I mean, that's basically everything. That's been happening. The biggest of all, okay, is really COVID. Let's just really, call it what it is. First of all, there wasn't a pandemic, and I think most people with, a couple of working brain cells realize at this point that this was not like a worldwide health emergency where everything had to be shut down and all the stuff that went on. But the perception of it, right? The perception of it when they come on TV every day and talk about we have to get adjusted to a new normal. When they come on TV every day and tell you how many new cases are sprung up, how many people have died, and all of a sudden it creates this hysteria, it creates the perception that this is going on. And is it going on? No. Was there a virus? I guess. Who knows what? I don't even believe in that kind of stuff overall either. I believe our health, sickness comes from within, not from the outside. So, I'm sure we can get into, deeper stuff on that. But I generally have the basic belief that when sickness occurs, it basically is occurring due to imbalance in the body, and not only just physical imbalance, whether you're not eating properly or stressed out or all that kind of stuff, but your emotions and your energy blockages, stuff you don't even realize, like the subconscious things. But anyway, COVID was like the biggest mind bleep of all with that. So, and led people to not only, do what they said, as far as staying home, shutting down their businesses. Then they got people masking up, like believing that works, and then convincing people to, it's just funny because I look at it as like it was like a test, in a way to say, okay, how obedient, how compliant is the general population at this stage after all the mind bleeping we've been doing over the years, between dumbing people down with video games and cell phones and technology and everything else that's been going on for, all this time since, whatever, years and years and years. Now we've gotten to a point, it's like, let's test it out and see, like, if we, how dumbed down is the general population? Let's do a fake pandemic and see. We tell them to put a mask on. We tell them to sit 6 feet apart. Hey, we'll tell them they go to a restaurant. you have to wear the mask. But if you sit at the restaurant and eat, you can take the mask off. But if you go to the bathroom, you got to put the mask back on. Let's see how, what these people do and how much they believe it. And how many people do believe it. I mean, even today I went grocery shopping, to be honest, and there was this younger girl. I mean, she probably was only like early 20s at the most, kind of age, and she was all masked up, and she looked petrified. And I'm thinking, I forget. Like that's one of the reasons I moved to Florida, right? Because I was done with that kind of shit. And when I come down here and I still see, even here, people that are afraid like that. Like I'm thinking, wow, man, all this time is going on. Like they've come out and basically told you that, like, I mean, now it's just disappeared, right? It's not even a big deal anymore, COVID or whatever. They try to say another variant could come or this, that, but it's not even on people's radar anymore. But like, there's still people so, I guess, traumatized by what happened. I would think even more so. I mean, it really is a great tool to attack the younger people. I would say, like, I don't know what, the Gen Z kind of crowd, right? And younger than that. I would say that COVID was a great way to really attack them. I guess the millennials too, in a sense, because the millennials, they're all messed up. Not in a bad way. I'm not against the millennials. I feel badly for them because of the time that they came up. It just was like all that, everybody gets a trophy stuff, and and the way our economy has changed, and student loans, all this stuff. Like they were never really given, like, I don't feel like a fair shake. I mean, I feel lucky as I'm a Gen Xer, and I feel like we were like the last ones that still are kind of in the realm of what the world was, like the old school world, like my grandparents and stuff like that. Like I say, I have relatives that I remember that were born in the 1800s. I mean, they died when I was very young, but I just, my great grandmother was actually born in 1899. So I know it's not like, it's the end of the 1800s, but still, she was born in 1899. And she passed when I was young. But I just, when I look back and think of, like, generations coming up now, they don't have any clue of what it was like. My mother, for goodness sakes, remembers them coming around like with a horse and a wagon in the streets, selling produce and stuff, in Philly, with Philadelphia. I'm sorry if I'm talking with colloquialism there, but Philadelphia, during that time, she remembers those type of things. Or remembers going with my great grandmother to pick out a chicken, and they cut the head off of the chicken right there in front of you. Just totally different way of life. And then this COVID thing. And then the younger people coming up, I mean, so the Gen Z and younger, like I was kind of saying, I mean, think about their perception, right? They grew up with, like, boom, right? Like phones in their hands. Like, I mean, everything. Technology, basically, with the phones and all, like, in full swing. So, they came up with that, and this whole, disjointed way of living. There was never really engagement. Like, it wasn't the same socialization. Like, when I was a kid, there was no phones. We just rode our bikes. We were going to meet over here at this kind of time, and our friends all just kind of showed up in the spot with the bikes, and then we went out and did whatever we were doing. I mean, we never had phones. I had never had phone all that time of going out with my friends, and also I don't know. It's just a interesting. And these kids come up young, right? And the fear of God is put into them. Actually, not God, because God wouldn't do that to people, what they did with COVID. But this fear put into them coming up. Maybe they experienced someone who passed away, or whatever happened. But this, and now they're still traumatized. Like the girl I'm talking about when I went grocery shopping today. I'm thinking, like, shit, man, I'm really going 3 years, and you're still, like, wearing a mask. Like, they came out, they basically, talk about the vax and everything else of it's not what they said, and you're still, like, believing this. Like, I don't know. I really just don't understand why people are still, on that. I think personally it should have been the catalyst to, wake up everybody. But as I say multiple times, not everyone is on the same place in their journey in this life or whatever. So not everyone's going to come to the same conclusions or realizations, or even recognize that they're being lied to. And maybe some of these people, quite honestly, when I think about it now, that are in their earlier 20s, maybe by the time they're older and get to be closer to my age, they'll look back on stuff and reflect and say, damn, I was in my 20s, I was scared shitless over this COVID. I wore a mask for 3 years everywhere I went because I thought blah, blah, blah. And, And then you realize you start building up. I guess it's part of it too. You have to build your experience. See, that's again the deception of perception, right? Because at the onset of anything, you're just given information, right? If you're a baby and you're born and then you're taught this is blue and this is green. I mean, what's blue? What's green? What's red? What is it? It doesn't even matter. I mean, it's perception, right? If you're colorblind, then you don't even know that. So, I mean, that's what I'm trying to say. There is no solid reality. Everything is an ebb and flow of, fluctuating energies and levels and all that kind of thing. And, and going back, and I know it sounds like, I always try to make it not sound, I don't want to make it sound, so this isn't about like, I don't like to make it sound, so conspiratorial or, just heavy that way, because I think it's a liberating concept, what I'm trying to share, not just here, but all the episodes pretty much kind of go down the same way of always just trying to enlighten in a sense of, or I don't want to say enlighten because who the hell am I, but, just give a different way of thought, to look at things and to say, listen, it is what it is, I'm me. And I'm always going to perceive things in a certain way. Like, a good example, I'll say, and a good example is like, say, like somebody doesn't call me back or, so I reach out to somebody and they say, yeah, let's get in touch about X, Y, or Z. And I say, okay, that sounds good. And I'll reach out and then, maybe I never hear back from the person or whatever. And then, I just know my way of the way how I was raised and some of the traumas I suffered as a child. My brain will go to, oh, well, they don't want to talk to me or, I guess they don't think it's worth it to, talk to me or something like that. And that's like, so, I mean, talk about like defeatist and talk about, what I'm saying is I'm aware of this and I know that it's a trigger. So I don't look at it that way now when that kind of situation happens. Like it might be my initial, click in the brain go to because I'm programmed. That's my perception based on the experiences I've had. But I'm aware of the fact that that is a perception based on experiences I've had and doesn't necessarily mean that that's what this particular experience is, or even that those past experiences were that. Those were just my ways, right? My ways based on my flaws at the time to absorb that information and then reflect it out back to say, I guess it was almost like you could say it's like a self-defense thing, right? Like, well, I'm going to, if somebody doesn't talk to me, I'm going to be, oh, well, I'm not good enough. They don't want to talk to me. I guess that's a way of putting it back on somebody like, oh, what's wrong with this person? They won't talk to me. And then I'm putting myself down. I'm putting them down. Everybody's being put down. And it's really just like, and your person might have been like, oh, I wanted to call you, but I lost your number. Or I wanted to call you, but, my mom went skydiving and the chute didn't open. I've been kind of caught up with some affairs since for a few weeks here now. Oh, where's my applause? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to give you a hard time. I didn't realize your mom. She fell out of the sky. I get it. Hurry up. It was a skydiving accident. I thought he didn't want to talk to me, but her leg is over here and her shoulders are over there. All right. Let's digress from that. But yeah, so anyway, that's kind of the thoughts I got here today. It's really just, kind of self-explanatory, the deception of perception. So I say this all the time. I'll leave it with this, I guess, that, you have to be responsible and mindful for your thoughts, for your feelings, your emotions, what you're taking in. You have to be an active participant because everything that is out there is, you're creating it, number one. And those powers that be that are out there that are trying to, mislead you for their own benefit, they know the game, and they know how to, not for nothing. Not just they know the game. The whole game is rigged. The media, the sports, the Hollywood, everything. The whole thing is just an orchestrated event to control your perception. So you have to be mindful of what's really real, what's really out there, what's really going on, and just be a critical thinker and be responsible for your thoughts and your emotions and all that, like I just said. And you'll be surprised that life tends to be a lot easier. And I always just want to encourage people during this time because, I know it just seems to get crazier and crazier, and everybody's worried about, when the nuclear bombs are going to go off or whatever's going to happen next. Who the frig knows? But just remember that, like, things are always under control. Like, there's nothing really ever that bad. Like, is what's the most catastrophic thing that can happen? Like some crazy tidal wave wipes out, the Earth. An asteroid comes and wipes out the Earth. I mean, that's like, if you want to just say what's the worst thing that can happen, the apocalypse, and we're all nuclear. Everybody sends up nukes, and we all blow up, and we all die. But the truth is, we don't die. There is no death. This is just a playground, and it's all just perception. So when you move on from the other spot, you'll be perceiving something different, right? So hold on, we got somebody here in the chat. Let's see here. What's that? Enki, is it Enki? Enki 74 says, me too, someone I've known as friend, good one, doesn't call back, doesn't talk to me. I feel bad. What's wrong with me? There's nothing wrong with you. I agree. There's nothing wrong with you. And that's what I'm trying to say, right? Like, you change, talking about the deception of perception, right? So you change your perception to say almost to the effect of, well, I guess that person doesn't want positive vibes in their life because they're not talking to me, right? If instead of thinking you're the bad one, you turn it around and you go, oh well, obviously this person is not looking to be happy because they're not talking to me. And think about how great that you're like, yeah, that's right, and it makes you feel good. But don't worry about that person. Enki 74, I want you to know I'm happy to talk to you anytime. You're welcome here, and thanks for commenting in on the show. But anyway, that's it basically, ladies and gentlemen, here today on Operation Status Quo. Remember the deception of perception. Just keep that in mind, right? Keep that little mantra in your mind, and every time you're seeing something, whenever you react to something, whether the news, your everyday life, your job, your family, whatever, just say, okay, this is what I'm perceiving. Some stuff might be accurate. I'm not saying everything's, you know what I mean? Because everything is within the confines of, your perception, your education. So, and it's just meant for you to learn and grow. So think about the thoughts that you're thinking. Be aware of the thoughts that you're thinking, how they play in your everyday life, how you're taking in what you see in the outside world, how that's playing into your life. And then, like I say here on Operation Status Quo, we flow with the quo, right? We understand what's going on in the everyday world. Then we create our own flow of quo. So that's all you have to do. You just have to see what's going on out there, not let it get too heavy on you, and you create your own flow and mitigate your way around through life, and smile and laugh and just be kind to those around you, and everything will shake out the way it should. So let's not let this crazy world get us down, ladies and gentlemen, because it's nonsense out there and there's nothing to be afraid of. Because nothing ultimately is real. And I guess I'm going to leave. I said I was going to leave it at this. I'm really going to leave it at this. I think the most important thing I would say from all this to remember is that we all are part of the one source. So we are not weak, and we are not in lack. And although we perceive everyday life through the eyes of our physical embodiment at this time in this 3D type of paradigm, that's just one perception, and it's not the be all end all. So we have to kind of, let ourselves loose a little bit and free of what we think is so serious in our, physical form. We live our life. We do the best we can. We'll move on at some point. We already have probably multiple times. We're already there now because all time is instantaneous. So, take it light. That's what I'm saying. Take it light and don't let these sons of bitches, get you down. Enki74 says, could we talk again? Sure. When you want to talk, let me know. My contact information is in the description box below. I'm talking here every day, Monday through Friday. I generally come on and do a show. So you can talk with me when I'm on. You can talk with me whenever, So I'm a man of the people. Are you a people? I'm a people. We're all people. So I love you guys out there. All right. Thank you for your time here today on Operation Status Quo. If you haven't already, please subscribe, like, share, send this out to your friends, your family, those you love, and those you despise as well. Hey, Enki74, can you do me a favor and share this out to other people like you that would want to talk? Get me like 2 or 3 more subscribers up there, and I'll put you'll be top chat fan, or what do they do here on YouTube? I don't even know. Seriously, I like everybody, and I really just trying to build a community of people to share, and just know that there's a space where you can take it light and not take everything so seriously. I mean, that's what I'm kind of here for, just as a reminder that you can create whatever you want in your life. So get out there and create it and have a good time. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for me here today on Operation Status Quo. I will be back with you again tomorrow for a little 4th of July check-in. So if you're out there and you want to join me tomorrow, that'd be great. Maybe bring me a hot dog. I like a good hot dog. I don't eat hot dogs often because they're, it's a horrible for you food. But I do love hot dogs, and I do treat myself from time to time. Although I did have a hot dog 2 weeks ago when I went to a beach party, so I'm probably done with hot dogs for the rest of the year. So anyway, that's it. Hey, Enki74, I want to thank you so much for chiming in on the chat today. I appreciate you being here and sticking with me and watching me on this live stream. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, until tomorrow, you guys have a great one out there. Operation Status Quo, disengaged.